Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Inigo. Welcome back to the Voluntary Exchange podcast for the 8th of December. I wasn't going to do a podcast today, but we have this news out of DC that the man on the right here, General Austin, has been tapped by Biden to be the defense secretary. This article is over at responsiblestatecraft.org. Written by Kelly Fallejos, another, she hasn't been on there much recently, but she's a guest of the Scott Horton show a good amount of time, let's just say. So I was reading this article and the article by Glenn Greenwald, and it seems like the reason he was tapped and not Michelle Florentin is because she was getting so much pushback because of her connections to, I guess you could say, the revolving door of influence peddling between the Pentagon and the lobbying firms for think tanks and defense contracting companies, which is kind of funny because as we get into here, you'll see that Mr. Austin is pretty much the same. So Florentine was kicked off the table. She was supposed to be the first woman defense secretary, and instead she was passed over by Mr. Austin. Now, Austin needs to sign a waiver. Congress needs to sign a waiver for him to qualify, as he's only been out of active duty for 4 years. There was the National Security Act of 1947, which requires the Secretary of Defense to either be a civilian or be out of service for a good amount of time to protect the fake idea that we have civilian oversight of our military, which, as we've seen, is almost worse than having military oversight of our military. Some of the only things that kept the Trump administration from expanding the wars to the extent that the civilians wanted was having the actual brass surrounding the Pentagon and in the White House. Even though Mathis and other guys disagreed with Trump and ended up being, on the other side of those discussions because they are military men and they do end up leaving the military and joining one of these think tanks or getting on the board of directors of one of these companies, as we saw with Mattis, as we see here. They at least have some connection to the men and women on the ground and have a better idea in terms of running headlong into a new conflict. So as we saw with Mattis, he was nominated 4 years after leaving the military, and he also sat on a corporate board of General Dynamics. Austin is kind of the same thing. So he's 67, retired from the Army in 2016 as a 4-star, and was the head of U.S. Central Command, which is the area of command that encompasses Northeast Africa, across the Middle East to Central and South Asia, which is literally the epicenter of U.S. wars for the last 2 decades, as Kelly writes here. He was the Vice Chief of Staff for the Army. Before that, he commanded troops under Obama in Iraq. And he also served as commander of the multinational corps in Iraq. So he's on board for all this stuff. He was on the ground there, and he's going to be there to sign off on any expansion of these wars that Trump has been trying to at least tone down. He currently serves as a board member for Raytheon, of course. So yeah, this is the progressive cabinet that you're getting with Biden. which is consistently among the world's top 5 defense contractors and among the top companies receiving U.S. federal contracts. As we know, Secretary of Defense Mark Esper spent years as Raytheon's top weapons lobbyist, and we saw how that worked. But he is getting pushback from some of the national security circles, again, the civilian side, not because they're using the verbiage that, the White House and the Pentagon is continually getting militarized, and the civilian oversight is being pushed aside, which is kind of what Greenwald argues here in his article. Biden's choice for Pentagon chief further erodes a key U.S. norm, civilian control. But really, he's just a yes man. He's going to be another yes man for Biden. And they also said that because he's African American, he is they're placating the Black caucus within the Democratic Party, who wanted a Black Secretary of Defense, which I guess matters. So yeah, we have another Raytheon think tank revolving door guy, but instead of being a woman, he's an African American, so it's going to be okay. So yeah, we'll follow and see what comes out on him. I mean, I only have the information from this article and what Glenn has, Mr. Greenwald. And I guess he's a quote unquote hero. I mean, he dots all the I's and crosses all the T's in terms of military. Right here, he's a towering figure in the armed forces, enormous global experience, joint staff and Army staff at the Pentagon, very easy to deal with, loved by the military, Silver Star, West Point, Auburn, MBA. So yeah, and he was already worked for Biden and Obama, so he'll sign on to anything they want to roll out. So other than that, I don't have much today. I just wanted to get on here and put that information out about this guy and who we're getting. It's going to be interesting to see if he does push back on any of Biden's expansions. That's why I think it's important for Trump to at least float the idea and push the narrative into the American psyche that we are withdrawing from Afghanistan, we are withdrawing from Somalia, we are withdrawing from Iraq, we are withdrawing from Syria. So then Biden has to resell these wars to the American people. So maybe that's why they're putting a guy in here like this, where you can get the conservative boomers to see a general with all his magical little things here, who's a ranger, and go, yep, well, at least he's been on the ground, we can trust him, and all that nonsense. So we'll see. Other than that, it's been a big day for the COVID cult people. As we see here, it's V-Day in the UK, where the second patient was vaccinated. His name was William Shakespeare, and of course, this is very important that his name is William Shakespeare. There he is. There's William. This is a heroic day for everybody, and they're very excited that this is going to save the world. There's a picture, I think it's this article. Nope. I think it's the other one. Where is it? Well, no, it's not here either. This is an article about Pfizer's vaccine, which is 95% effective, but then, of course, it states here, and I posted this, that the vaccine has been shown to elicit increased local and systematic adverse reactions as compared to those in placebo, usually after a few days. The most common adverse reactions were injection site reactions of 84%, fatigue, headache, muscle pain, chills, joint pain, and fever. So you get the flu from the vaccine. And what's funny is the severe adverse reactions occurred in 0 to 5%, or 4.5% of participants, and were more frequently after dose 2 than dose 1, and were less frequent in older adults as they were in younger adults. So with COVID, the younger demographic is getting barely any symptoms or getting it at all or feeling it at all. But by taking the vaccine, they will most likely, if they do get any symptoms, they'll be worse than the virus themselves. So should be fun. There was an article I can't find the video, the picture now, but it was the first lady who got the vaccine, and she's walking down the aisle, the hallway in the hospital, and all the nurses are clapping because she's a hero, I guess, for being alive. Now I have a 94-year-old grandfather. My grandmother passed away this year, not from COVID. And, these people don't get talked about. The people that are locked in their nursing homes, don't see their family, that would much rather see their family than sit around and wait for a shot. Yeah, they're not talked about with the COVID cult people. I was going to show you a video I found on Twitter, but I've been, let me see. It's going to let me on. I doubt it. But I was suspended from Twitter. Yeah, still suspended, I think. Yeah, I was suspended for this tweet. So Dan Rather had some ridiculous post about how great Biden's going to be and we're going to go back to normal and the world's going to be saved. So I just posted, pardon me, we have Arabs to bomb. So that got me banned for violating something. So they asked me to remove my tweet, and I appealed it by saying you're out of your mind, and we'll see where that goes. So for right now, I am no longer on Twitter. And then this article I thought was pretty funny. New York is going to send mask squads to enforce COVID-19 rules in lax counties. The lax counties are, of course, Rockland and Orange County, which are counties that have a large Hasidic Jewish population. So there's going to be people in the streets hunting Jews and forcing them to comply with their nonsense. Both counties, which have a large ultra-Orthodox Jewish communities where some have defied safety protocols, have among the highest COVID infection rates in the state. So, COVID cult continues. So that's going to be it. That's all I wanted to really speak on. I just wanted to get a quick video out about Mr. Austin, and we'll see where we go from here. Trump's still doing his thing, fighting the good fight or the bad fight, depending on how you look at it. We'll see what happens with that. I'm not really that invested, but we'll see. So until next time, this has been Inigo. I will talk to you guys maybe tomorrow, but at some point this week, and I'll see you guys out there.